Good morning, YouTube. I am going to show you how to make duck confit. And despite the fact that it sounds really, really fancy, it's actually super easy. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Alright, this is all we need for our duck confit. And confit just means you cook something at a very low temperature when it's completely covered in fat, okay? And that's really all there is to it. So what I have are 4 duck legs. You can use as many or as few as you like. I have a bunch of black pepper that I just cracked. About, I don't know, 6 or 7 sprigs of fresh thyme. I have 1 small shallot that I just sliced up. Kosher salt. I'm not sure exactly how much, but probably a good 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. And my duck legs. Alright, so this is really the easiest thing in the world. Okay, you start by salting the bottom of your container. And you want to pick a glass or a plastic container and putting a good bit of salt in there. And then we're going to lay the duck breast on top of that. But first, a little bit of blood in there because that's where I was storing the duck legs. Alright, so then half of our shallot. And we're just going to sprinkle that over the bottom. Half. We're going to put the other half on top. And the same thing goes for our thyme. That doesn't want to come apart. So half of the thyme in the bottom, we're going to rest our duck legs on that. And our pepper. We're making it a bed. And these seasonings and these herbs are going to go right in the pan with the duck when it's time to do the confit. We're going to try to find a smaller container though to actually cook it in, because we want to completely cover that with duck fat. And then we're going to cook it really slowly, but you salt it first. This is the first step. This gets 24 hours. Not too much, but you want to be generous. Alright, and then easy part, just the rest of your other ingredients. Now this I'm going to cover and I'm going to put in the refrigerator until tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Good morning. We are ready for the second step in making our duck confit. So we have our duck. That's what sat overnight. Yesterday we added the salt and the herbs and the shallots and covered it with plastic wrap, and it's been sitting about 24 hours. Over here I have cast iron skillet, and I put just a couple tablespoons of duck fat in the bottom. I had the duck fat from why did I have duck fat? I had it yesterday because I cooked off some duck breast. There we go, that's why I had it. And we're just going to transfer the duck legs over here to this cast iron skillet. Now, we want as small a container as possible because, and we're taking our seasonings with us, by the way, all that time. I'll tell you why in a minute. We want as small as possible because we need to completely submerge these duck legs in duck fat, okay? And the smaller your vessel, the less duck fat you will actually need. Now, we're also going to do something else. There's a lot of duck fat that's going to render out of those legs themselves, but I don't think it's going to be enough to cover. Let's see where we are. I don't think it's going to be enough to cover. Alright, now, to this we're going to add about a teaspoon of juniper berries. You don't have to use them. I like them. If you have them, great. I buy a package about once a year, and then I have it for corned beef and for pickles and for duck confit, because I usually only have duck once a year too. So, alright, we also have another tablespoon of whole peppercorns, and we're scattering that in. And we have 4 garlic cloves that I just smashed, you know, boom, with the heel of my hand. We're putting these in. Now, part of what we're doing, we're gonna have a lot of duck fat in here. And part of what we're doing is not only cooking the meat that's on these legs, if you can see where we are right now, we're not only cooking the meat that's on those legs, we're also going to be flavoring and perfuming the duck fat itself, right? So like I said, I only have duck about once a year, which means when I do have it, I want to use every last shred of it. I want to get every morsel of flavor I can get. And obviously I can't find a spatula. All right, we'll go wooden spoon. Now, because of that, I do this too. This is also duck fat. And what I did was I took both of the ducks that I had, and I removed the legs and I removed the breast, but then I took the remaining carcass, which, you know, not a whole lot left, but there was a lot of skin on it. I put it in the top of my pasta pot with about 2 inches of water underneath, and I steamed it for about an hour. I stuck the liquid in the fridge, and that's how much fat I got off of just the carcasses of those 2 ducks. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Now, I've seen a lot of recipes for duck confit where they will tell you to melt the fat at this point. I'm not gonna. We're gonna go into a low oven, and it's gonna melt just fine by itself and get submerged. I don't have to take that extra step. So what we're going to end up with when we're done with all of this is we're going to end up with a good bit of incredibly flavorful, luscious duck fat that has been perfumed with peppercorns and thyme and juniper and garlic. Then we're also going to end up with the confit duck legs. So there will be meat on the duck legs. We're also going to have the skin from the legs, which is going to be another added bonus. Because eventually, by the time we're all done with this whole little series on duck, I'm going to show you how to do a couple more things with this that are out of this world. Alrighty, so I have my oven set to 225 degrees, and this is going to go into that oven. I'm going to take one more step. This is a second cast iron skillet. This is my grandmother's. How about that? And it's slightly smaller, so it sits one inside the other. And this whole contraption is going to go into the oven. Wait a minute, I wanted to show you that. Hang on, I want to show you this real quick. Now that I've made a mess. Can you see that? I'm trying to get you where you can see it. What I might do is put this in just enough for the duck fat to melt and come back and give you a picture of what it looks like at that point, and then I'll press it with a second skillet. I think I'm going to do that. Let's go do that. Alright, so that's all it looks like. It took maybe 6 minutes, possibly, for that fat to melt. And you can see, our duck legs are not completely submerged. That's fine. Now is when we cover it up and press it down. That's going to make sure everything does stay nice and submerged. Alright, 225 degrees for 2 hours. Here we go. Okie dokie. Let's see what we got. Alright, so the duck confit was in there for 2 hours, and after 2 hours, I took off the second cast iron skillet and left it in by itself. So it's just been the uncovered confit. Ooh! Ooh, this is a thing of beauty. Alright, y'all don't want me to start singing, but boy, that's about to make me sing. Alright. Check out this. Let's see. Oh, come on, camera. There we go. How beautiful is that? That's gorgeous. All right, so one of the things, well, the one and only reason I made the duck confit, A, I adore duck, and I want to use every last scrap. But B, I want to make cassoulet, okay? And duck confit is a primary ingredient in cassoulet. So at this stage, I'm pulling these out of here and I'm putting them in a very small container because you can store duck confit for several weeks That's, you know, originally was the point, was a preservation method. Regions of France where they had lots of duck. So they needed to find a way to keep it so they could use it longer. And now over here I still have all this gorgeous duck fat. It has not given us by far all that it has to offer. Matter of fact, this by itself is something luscious. All right, there's our little duck legs in here. I'm going to strain this fat and pour it over the top of this, and then I can just cover this and leave it in the fridge and it'll last for several weeks. How cool is that? All right, I'm going to strain the fat and I'll be back to show you. Okay, I just set a strainer over the top of a measuring cup, poured everything in there, and we are now done with that. And to get this ready to store, this is it. That's all you got to do. And like I said, you use some of the duck fat in the cassoulet. You do use the duck confit itself. But even after all of that, the rest of this duck fat, ooh, dole that out a tablespoon at a time when you're roasting potatoes. Toss diced potatoes with a teaspoon or two of black pepper and kosher salt and a tablespoon or so of those, of the duck fat. You will think you have died and gone to heaven. All right, YouTube. Let's see. There we go. That is our gorgeous homemade duck confit. See, it sounds all fancy. It's just making use of everything you got. Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. And if you thought that video was helpful, do me a huge favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get a notification whenever I post a new video. And if you have a second, hop on over to Patreon and check out how to support my channel even more. Again, thanks for watching.